Moonraker is a 1979 spy film and the 11th of the James Bond series produced by Eon Productions, and the fourth to star Roger Moore as the fictional MI6 agent James Bond. The third and final film in the series, to be directed by Lewis Gilbert, it co-stars Lois Charles, Michael Lonsdale and Richard Kiel. Bond investigates the theft of the space shuttle, leading him to Hugo Drax, the owner of the shuttle's manufacturing firm. Along with space scientist Dr. Holly Goodhead, Bond follows the trail from California to Venice, Rio de Janeiro, and the Amazon rainforest, and finally to outer space to prevent a plot to wipe out the world population and to recreate a humanity with the master race. The story was intended by author Ian Fleming to become a film even before he completed the novel in 1954. He based it on a screenplay manuscript he had devised earlier. The film's producers had originally intended to make For Your Eyes Only, but chose Moonraker owing to the rise of the science fiction genre in the wake of the Star Wars phenomena. Budgetary issues led to the film being shot primarily in France. Other locations included Italy, Brazil, Guatemala, and the United States. The sound stages of Pinewood Studios in England, traditionally used for the series, were only used by the special effects team. Moonraker had a high production cost of $34 million, more than twice as much as A Spy Who Loved Me in 1977, and it received mixed reviews. However, the film's visuals were praised, with Derek Meddings being nominated for Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, and it eventually became the highest-grossing film of the series at the time, with $210.3 million worldwide, a record that stood until 1995's Golden Eye. This was Bernard Lee's final outing as M. Lee was scheduled to reprise his role in For Your Eyes Only, but was admitted to hospital in November 1980, diagnosed with stomach cancer. He then died in January 1981, before any of M's scenes could be filmed. The cast includes Roger Moore as James Bond 007, an MI6 agent assigned to look into the theft of a shuttle from the Moonraker space program. Lois Charles as Holly Goodhead, an astronaut scientist on loan from NASA working in the Drax Industries. She's later revealed to be a CIA agent. Michael Lonsdale as Hugo Drax, an industrialist who plans to poison all humans on Earth, then repopulate the planet from his space station. Richard Kiel as Jaws, Drax's new henchman who replaces Chang at Drax Industries. He is known for his giant stature and possessing a set of strong steel teeth. Bernard Lee as M, the head of MI6. This was Bernard Lee's, of course, final role as M. And Desmond Llewellyn as Q, MI6's quartermaster, who supplies Bond with multi-purpose vehicles and gadgets useful for the latter's mission. The end credits for the previous Bond film, The Spy Who Loved Me, said James Bond will return in For Your Eyes Only. However, following the box office success of the 1977 space-themed film Star Wars, the producers chose the novel Moonraker as the basis for the next film. For Your Eyes Only was postponed and ended up following Moonraker in 1981. Roger Moore had originally signed a 3-film contract with Eon Productions, which covered his first 3 appearances, Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, and Spy Who Loved Me. From Moonraker onwards, Moore was contracted on a film-by-film basis. Initially, the chief villain, Hugo Drax, was to be played by British actor James Mason, but once the decision was made that the film would go with Anglo-French co-production under the 1965-79 film treaty, French actor Michael Lonsdale was cast as Drax, and Corinne Clery was chosen for the part of Corinne Dufour, to comply with the qualifying criteria of the agreement. Stuart Granger and Louis Jourdan were also considered for the role of Drax. Jourdan would later portray Kamal Khan, chief villain of Octopussy. American actress Lois Charles had originally been offered the role of Anya Anamasova in Spy Who Loved Me in 1977, but turned down the part when she decided to take a temporary retirement. Chills was cast as Holly Goodhead by chance when she was given the seat next to Lewis Gilbert on the flight, and he believed she would be ideal for the role of a CIA scientist. Jacqueline Smith was originally offered the role of Holly Goodhead, but turned it down owing to scheduling conflicts with Charlie's Angels. Drax's henchman Chang was played by Japanese Aikido instructor Toshari Suga. He was recommended for the role by executive producer Michael G. Wilson, who was one of his pupils. Wilson, continuing the tradition he started in Goldfinger, has a small cameo role in Moonraker. He appears twice, first as a tourist outside the Veni glass shop in a museum in Venice, and at the end of the film as a technician in the US Navy control room. The Jaws character, played by Richard Kiel, makes a return, although in Moonraker the role is played more in a comedic effect than in The Spy Who Loved Me. Jaws was intended to be a villain against Bond to the bitter end, but director Lewis Gilbert stated on the DVD documentary that he received so much fan mail from small children saying, "Why can't Jaws be a goodie and not a baddie?" that as a result he was persuaded to gradually transform Jaws into a Bond ally by the end of the film. Originally, Jaws' girlfriend was going to be portrayed even more massive than him, but Kiel insisted on a rewrite. Diminutive French actress Blanche Ravelic, who had recently begun her career with minor roles in French films such as Michael Lang's Holiday Hotel and Claudine Solet's A Simple Story, was cast as the bespectacled Dolly, the girlfriend of Jaws. Originally, the producers were dubious about whether the audience would accept the height difference between them. In 1978, Steven Spielberg offered to direct the film after the release of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but Albert R. Broccoli turned him down. In March of 2004, rumours surfaced about a lost 1956 version of Moonraker by Orson Welles, and a James Bond website repeated it on April Fool's Day 2004 as a hoax. Supposedly, this recently discovered lost film consisted of 40 minutes of raw footage, with Dirk Bogarde as Bond, Welles as Drax, and Peter Law as Drax's henchman. Moonraker was the third of 3 Bond films in which the theme song was performed by Shirley Bassey after Goldfinger and Diamonds Are Forever. Frank Sinatra was originally considered for the vocals, and Kate Bush was asked as well, but she declined. Johnny Mathis was approached and offered with the opportunity. However, Mathis, despite having started recording with Barry, was unable to complete the project, leaving producers to offer the song to Bassey just weeks before the premiere date in England. Bassey made the recordings with very short notice, and as a result, she never regarded the song as her own, as she never had the chance to perform it in full or promote it. The film uses 2 versions of the title theme song, a ballad version heard over the main titles, and a disco version over the closing titles. The song made little impact on the charts, reaching 159, partially attributed to Bassey's failure to promote the single, given the last-minute decision to quickly record it to meet the schedule. In 2005, Bassey sang the song for the first time outside James Bond on a stage as part of a medley of her 3 Bond title songs. Significant debate and discussion surrounds a scene in Moonraker, potentially the result of the Mandela effect. In one comedic scene of the film, the villain Jaws encounters a short blonde geeky girl, Dolly, who becomes his girlfriend. Jaws and Dolly are opposites, with her standing just 5 feet tall while Jaws is over 7 feet in height. In the scene, Jaws smiles at Dolly with his metal teeth, while she smiles back at him. Many fans of the film claim they record Dolly having metal braces during her smile, in what would have been a joke about both individuals possessing metal teeth. However, in the VHS, DVD and Blu-ray releases of the film, Dolly clearly does not possess braces. Some fans believe Dolly possessed braces in the theatrical run of the film, which have been removed since, while the opponents of the theory claim that she never possessed braces at all, with the notion that this is a result of the Mandela effect. The braces have widely been reported in media, even in a 2014 BBC News article referring to Dolly as having braces. Conversely, actress Blanche Ravaillac, who played Dolly, wrote in a 2016 that she never wore braces in the film. Now, Moonraker is a complete departure from the typical James Bond formula, taking the franchise into the realm of science fiction. The film embraces a larger-than-life approach, featuring extravagant action sequences, elaborate sets, and a plot that ventures into outer space. It is an ambitious attempt to capitalize on the popular fascination with the space exploration during the late 1970s, but then again Bond films were known to do this. Moore once again returns as James Bond, and he brings his signature charm and wit to the role. While some may argue that Moore's portrayal leans more towards a lighter comedic tone, he still embodies the suave and debonair characteristics associated with the iconic character. His performance is entertaining, but once again for me falls very much flat. The action in Moonraker is over the top and packed with thrilling moments, from skydiving stunts to laser battles in space, and the film delivers an abundance of high-energy sequences. However, the emphasis on the spectacle sometimes comes at the expense of the coherent storytelling and character development. The plot can feel convoluted, and certain narrative elements may stretch the audience's suspension of disbelief. The film's villain here, Hugo Drax, played by Michael Lonsdale, is memorable and formidable adversary for Bond. Lonsdale brings a sophisticated and calculating presence to the role, making Drax a fitting foil for the iconic spy. Additionally, the film reintroduces Jaws here, played by Richard Kiel, the henchman with metal teeth, who quickly, of course, became a fan favourite from The Spy Who Loved Me. Despite its departure from the traditional Bond formula and some of its flaws, Moonraker is an overall semi-entertaining film, but not one of the best in the Bond series. Look, it offers a unique blend of espionage and science fiction, capitalizing on the era's fascination with space exploration, but if you really want a good sci-fi of the time, rather go and watch Star Wars. This is by no means one of the strongest entries in the Bond franchise. I think Sean Connery, who of course previously played Bond, summed up the film very well when he said, "I think it's departed so much from any sort of credence from the reality that we had in my 6 films. It's so dependent here on effects, and there's no substance." And that kind of sums up Moonraker. It's not really offensive, but then again, it's not really fantastic, and it kind of misses the point of what James Bond, I believe, is about. If you view this film purely as a sci-fi from the age, well, it's kind of forgettable. If you view it as another chapter within the Bond series, well, I suppose you have to tick it off the list per se. But this is by no means a great Bond film. It's okay at best, and therefore Moonraker gets a 5 out of 10.